This is Guns, Knives, and Watches, and I just want to talk to you about two of my favorite knives. Of course, I've shown these knives in a lot of different videos, and me goofing off and fucking off and this, there, or the other. But in reality, these are my favorite fixed blade knives. Why is that? Very simple reasons. They work in my environment. The Matt Will Go knife from Buck is, of course, a knife that I've goofed off with in front of the camera for a long time, and made, of course, stupid, funny, this, there, or the other videos. But it's a knife that I really do like. Now, I don't like it the way it originally comes, or the original type of grind and configuration from Buck. What I had to do was, I had to lay that edge back, and I laid it back, believe it or not, to 20 degrees. Now, this is 5160 steel or whatever. So it's very durable, but I needed a better cutter. So I basically laid the edge back a little bit. And, 20 degrees per side is not that aggressive. In fact, it's not really aggressive at all. And the way it came to me was a little closer to, 25 degrees per side or something like that. So the Matt Will Go knife, if I were to basically want to have a knife that I could easily wear on my hip, this is it. And I've seen a lot of people use tech locks, and a lot of people that haven't used tech locks a lot, and they will set them up in such configuration to where they will put this bar at the top, they will put a bar at the top and the bottom or whatever. My recommendation is to always, when you're using a tech lock, put these spacer bars down, which as you flip it over, it goes to the bottom, because you want this top edge of this to be your belt, okay? And you want as little torque being created with these two bolts, if you're only using two bolts like this setup and like most setups. So this puts your belt as high on the tech lock and as close to this hinge as possible. And that's just the way I use it, and that's the way I will always use it. And me reprofiling the edge has made this one of my favorite knives. Now, this is a 4-inch knife, and how I tell that is basically across my hand a little bit more than that. It's 4 inches. Is it exactly 4 inches? A little bit longer than that? I have no earthly idea. But it's a pretty good size knife, okay? It's big enough for me. And for most uses and most applications, this knife is really what I need in more of an aggressive type configuration. Now, of course, we've seen me talk about the BK-15. Now, this BK-15, of course, has been heavily modified. It's been modified almost on every surface. Now, did I go so far as to take the finish off of it? No, I didn't. But I've done about everything else. Of course, I reprofiled the edge, and I did this at about 19 degrees per side. I'd have to go back and check my paperwork to know, but it just laid it back a little bit more than what the original was. And this one came in a little bit steeper than 20 degrees also. So we laid it back at about 19 degrees. Of course, the most obvious change is we put the linen micarta handles, which this is a $35 upgrade. And if anybody who bought the BK-15 when I put the video out there, you bought it for $45 anyway. So $45, and that was shipped to you through Amazon. 2-day shipping if you had Amazon Prime, this, there, or the other. Was an extremely good deal. Of course, Loctited the screws. Those are Allen head screws. I didn't decide to go with the stainless steel hardware upgrade, because why in the hell would you do that if you have a carbon steel knife? Putting stainless steel hardware on carbon steel knife basically seems like, you're putting tits on a boar hog. It seems as useless as tits on a boar hog. How about that? And Yeah, you can do it. Yes, you can buy it, but your knife's still going to corrode. Now, a lot of people, of course, take this finish off this knife. And what I've chosen to do instead on mine, which you can kind of tell, it looks a little slickier or slippier than most. And I guess you can compare it. You may be able to pick that up on camera, how much smoother this is, the actual blade surface itself. And I would recommend this on any of the Beckers. And I actually learned to do this actually from watching a video with Ethan Becker himself, talking about what he does to prep his knives out. Now, not about reprofiling the edge or anything else, but what he does is he takes 400 grit sandpaper. Now, I don't always have the perfect grit of sandpaper. I don't always have, well, when you do this, you do that, da 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 da. But what I did have was I had some 220 grit sandpaper that I had used for quite a bit of work. And I'll keep it because once you use it on something, it knocks the high spots off, it knocks the big pieces of sand off and kind of clumps it up a little bit. So I folded it up and basically sanded the edge of the knife. Where I really learned it was back in the day, if anybody ever watched my BK-9 review that was made by K-Bar. Now, of course, anybody who knows me knows that I've carried and used Camless knives, or Becker knives from back when they were Camless, and I've got the BK-71 and the BK-2 made by Camless and a lot of other things. So I've been a long time user of their product, a lot longer than actually K-Bar having the production rights and moving forward. So this basically brings the surface down to just a much smoother, slicker, easier to clean, much more friction resistant surface, so that you can use this for basically camp tasks and basically any medium to light duty survival situation. You have a 5-inch blade. I'll give you a comparison what a 5-inch blade looks in across my hand, which gives you good reach. The problem is the fact that you don't have a fully sharpened swedge here. You do have a flat area, but it's a modified type of grind there. So that's great for what they want it to do, which is for being able to break bone, because Ethan Becker apparently is a big bone marrow guy, and bone marrow is awesome stuff when you get into cooking and doing this, that, or the other, and this will actually break the bone where you can get the marrow out, and it basically seasons and gives you a lot of energy and a lot of other things in your food when you're out in the field, and it just brings a level of refinement to a dish. But anyway, so these are my two favorites, and these are some of the things that I had to do. No knife that I basically have ever gotten, especially in these price ranges, you're talking about $100 or less price points, even with the scale modification on the BK-15, have really been up to snuff as far as being able to take them out into the field and actually do the job at a level in which I would like them to be able to work at. Even in a combat situation or as a soldier's knife, I really like this knife quite a bit better with the 20 degree per side grind on it. Now I tried, of course, a more shallow grind in the beginning with this one, but then I decided to settle on the 20 degrees just because it was a lot easier and I would lose a lot less metal when sharpening it. The BK-15 itself, tremendous knife, chrome Provan steel or chrome and vanadium steel, and of course we've got the 5160 there. The one thing that I do like, and I just want to throw this one out there, that if you ever wanted to go with stainless steel hardware for this knife, and really this is the only reason I would do it, is to change from the Allen head to a slotted type screw configuration. They've got some upgrades for these things where you can put slotted screws on them, or you could just probably go to your local hardware store or screw supply place. In our area, there's a place called Diamond Screw where you can get basically anything, and they would probably have something that would work. Or you could spend $3.50 or something like that, and then a few dollars in shipping, $3 in shipping, $6, and get them shipped directly to you, already outfitted. But that's the only reason I would go with a different type of setup. Not so much for the stainless steel configuration, but for the slotted screw configuration, like this buck knife has. Anyway, these are actually my two favorite knives. These are the ones that if you saw me out, these are the ones I would have on me. Camp and medium duty tool use, and then more of a aggressive type setup. Of course, I've got my multi-tool in here, but that's really not what this is about. And if you know anything about my knife collection, it's quite extensive, but some reason when I'm out and I'm walking around, I'm picking up stuff and I'm doing things, I stay around the 10-ounce configuration as far as even my fixed blade knives. I really don't like going bigger than that. And if you're not able to carry your pack, and you're not able to use your pack, and you're not able to do all of these things, then you won't have it with you. So if it has some pie in the sky mentality behind its design, its setup, and really how it would be useful to you in your life, why would you carry it with you? When you are piling your car full of luggage, you're going on a trip, what's going to make that one bag or that one piece of kit stay in your trunk when space is an issue? Even in the car that I have now, I've got a very extremely large trunk, but still, that it has to be useful enough. It can't just be some pie in the sky mentality, zombie apocalypse crazy shit. It has to be, what do I need? And what are some of the things that I want? And then make that fit your life. Would I rather this sheath not look so tactical and have a MOLLE type configuration? Yes, I would, but it's a good sheath. And for the $45, and then we spent the $35 on the my card upgrades, it's not a bad setup. Size, space, weight, those are things we all have to consider, and what we're actually doing out in the wilderness, and what we would actually be doing when we're not in the wilderness, when we're not in a situation. I can use these knives in any situation, especially the BK-15. It's a very, very capable camp knife. It's a very capable food prep knife. It's a capable when I'm in my hotel room. It's capable when I'm out in the field. It's capable when I'm just wherever. It just can't, these things can't just be one-trick ponies. When I switched from a metal canteen back to a number 2 plastic Nalgene bottle, I did that because I had 2 other cooking options. That was my third. So I get the ability to do that because I don't have redundancy in my pack where 1 is none and 2 is 1 and this, that, or the other. My situation is 3 is 2. So if I take out one of them, I still have 2 backups. And you need to think that way in your pack, in your kit, in your setup. Yes, of course, Mora knives are always going to be one of the things that I will primarily always go through for woodcraft, for carving, for doing any of those things. But for anything other than one of those type of knives, these are the ones that I gravitate to when I want to have something that's a little more heavy duty. This is Guns, Knives, and Watches, and my rant of the day.